session into your hands. Also commit those who are on their way coming into your hands. And we are confident that at the end of it all, we will say that the objective of this forum has been achieved. In Jesus' mighty name, we pray with thanksgiving. Amen.
Amen. Thank you very much, Mrs. Siamlati. So, distinguished ladies and gentlemen, this morning we welcome you with warmth and fervor, and we say that we thank you for attending to our call with such speed and enthusiasm. We promise you that your time here will be very worthwhile. I know him personally, he hasn't taken a bribe before. Another round of applause. And joining Dr. Edwinji this morning, please welcome our President, Mr. John Wilson. This morning we're blessed to have our Vice President, Dr. Edward Papong, who will take his seat, also by our Executive Director. But last but not the least, ladies and gentlemen, we have with us the Director of Admin and Human Resources at the National Labour Commission. Please welcome Dr. Dennis Welbeck. So distinguished ladies and gentlemen, one more time, a round of applause for our ITO. Why they stay, why they leave is even very important to us. And that's why we're gathered here to explore various ways in which our practice as human resource practitioners can be done. We have with us very, very distinguished CEOs who have donated their time to be with us this morning. Ladies and gentlemen, now as a resounding round of applause for our CEOs. So we thank you very much for lending us your time, and we promise that your time here will be very worthwhile. But a lot of labor agitations have been in the news lately. You will hear employees dissatisfied, taking employers to court, and the like. And if you check here, even our own NLC is not spared. And so it is particularly appropriate also that while exploring the issues of labor and of human resource management, we also bring into the fray our quote-unquote arbitrators. Ladies and gentlemen, the National Labour Commission, a round of applause. And so a quick run through the program reveals a very short but very insightful and engaging lineup. We shall have some welcome remarks, and then we shall move straight into action, have an overview of what this program is intended to be. We shall also have a presentation from the National Labour Commission, and our CEOs will also speak to us and give us their thoughts on this great venture. We shall then break into an open forum where we'd like to hear from you, our very able and astute HR practitioners, what you think of all the issues that have been discussed. And finally, we shall have some messages from our sponsors. May I add that this great meeting is made possible by the loving kindness of two of our very, very great partners, ladies and gentlemen, Star Life Assurance and GCB Bank. How about this? And so we thank you, and we know that in the coming months you'll do more for us. Setting the tone for this great meeting, ladies and gentlemen, it's my pleasure to call up our Executive Director, Mr. Ebenezer Akpeto, as he gives us the welcome address.
Good morning to you all.
Good morning.
Thank you. That's a better response. I guess we will do what we have now. Guest speaker, Mr. President, Vice President, and Executive members of the National Governing Council of the Institute of Human Resource Management Practitioners, Ghana, the CEOs and HR directors and managers of various organizations, distinguished invited guests, friends from the media, ladies and gentlemen. I am very delighted. Probably I would say that is an understatement. I would say I am very, very, very delighted to welcome you all to this maiden CEOs Forum. This is an event that has been on the drawing board for a year and a half now. And we are pleased that it has finally become a reality. Getting champions of the industry together at any point in time, as I said earlier on, is no mean task. I personally had to go around with some of our executive members of the council. And with all that, we believe that whatever it is, something will happen. And I'm glad that indeed we are here this morning and we are about to start the program. Indeed, we have to leverage on our networks available to the Institute. We also believe that whatever it is, we needed to start and hope that it will eventually catch on. As I said, we are here and we'll get on with it. Creating a single platform to discuss issues confronting HR practitioners in the organization is what the forum is all about. The background, the players in this, and the form in which this forum will evolve will be addressed by the president of this institute during his overview address. Our guest speaker certainly deserves a very, very special welcome. And I think I would want to ask you to give him some applause for this. I'll ask you to do so because he accepted to play this role at a very, very short notice. Simply because the person who was earmarked had to also travel emergency. And with that, we had to scan quickly around, and at the end of the day, our guest speaker agreed to step in. So, Mr. Guest Speaker, we will do a proper introduction later on, but I'm so appreciative of you stepping in to do this for us. At this point, I would like to introduce some of the members of the National Governing Council. Then we have the Vice President, Dr. Edward Kwapong. Following are executive members of the National Governing Council. We have Mrs. Nanaya Chu. We have Mr. Leonard Kokopong. have Mr. Kwame Apeti. He is latest on the block. He just joined the council. We have others who are not here at the moment, what we call the chapter representatives of the council. And I'll start with Mrs. Dora Siawati. She is the chair of the Accra chapter. And then we have, unfortunately I think she's the only one here. Oh, we have a good. We were expecting the Tema chapter rep, the Kumasi, and then the Temas. We will introduce later on. They are here, obviously, to share some insight into complaints or cases they frequently adjudicate, and giving, especially the mediating role. You're welcome, Dr. Warwick. I would also like to take this opportunity to express our deepfelt appreciation to our two main sponsors of this program. They are Star Life Assurance and GC. Yes, I appreciate it. It is for their support that this program has happened, so we do appreciate you a lot. I also want to say a big thank you to the council members who played various roles to make this possible. So also would I say thank you to the secretariat staff for their role in making this morning's event possible. And I think they also deserve some appreciation.
Thank you very much, Mr. Ebenezer Petzo, our Executive Director. Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, it's now time for us to have an overview of this entire program and what it bodes for you, the practitioners, and the various stakeholders. Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, I give to you our very dedicated and indefatigable President, Mr. John Wilson.
Thank you very much, Jerry. Our dear Chief Executives, delegates from the National Labour Commission, our National Governing Council, the HR directors, the practitioners present, the media, see them very visible. Invited guests, ladies and gentlemen. It's also with great pleasure that I join you at this breakfast session to first give an overview and also discuss issues confronting the HR practitioner and their CEOs, or the chief executives, in their effective workforce management. This being the maiden session, we pray the expectations of our stakeholders are fulfilled through constructive engagement. The question one would ask is, why are we here? Why are we here? I've been asked to give an overview. After all, there is no free lunch, as the saying goes. I'm sure we've had some bites already, and one would ask, what is this bite all about? Recounting a year and a half ago, as part of our stakeholder engagement when we were elected into office, our council visited the commissioner. I remember we met you, Dr. Robert and team, and we had a very fruitful meeting. In the course of our deliberations, the following concerns were shared by the acting executive secretary, who is literally here today. So we are happy you are here to listen to us. According to the team that met us, the commission that met us, They have been looking for opportunity to address certain avoidable developments committed by our practitioners, the HR practitioners, in their line of duty. So we got in there just in time to listen to them as to what has been happening, which could be avoided. Prevention is always better. That as an institute with members, where they remark that, look, your institute with members both in the public and private sectors, you need to reach out more to those in the public sector, as statistics show significant slip-ups occur there, very significant. And as a result, those in the public sector should also be aided to be on top of the challenges that confront them in their roles. So that was one of the reasons they made, that look, don't just concentrate on the private sector as the trend was, but look at your colleagues in the public sector and give them the necessary support. They emphasized that the institute should dwell more on the prevention of HR-related conflicts, which eventually get referred to the Commission by putting in place effective mechanisms to prevent the occurrence of these conflicts. They said that from their observation, flawed procedures lead employers to fail at case hearings quite often. So we go there, and where we even have a good story, good case, because our procedures were wrong, we tend to lose. So we've got to be mindful of our procedures in handling the elections. They remarked that HR practitioners remain cognizant of the distinction between the HR role and industrial relations, no matter how thin the line seems to be. They are together. But I must say, IR is a very specialized area. Apart from the theory, you need to back it with practice. And quite often we think that we're going through the textbooks and we've done HR, so we can handle IR easily. And that's where the challenges have come. So we've got to take our time and study and get the right people to handle industrial relations. And quite often we don't have that. I'm happy our chief executives are here. So I'm not campaigning to get IR managers employed, but I want to emphasize the need to have trained people in industrial relations. They don't come easy though, but it's worthwhile. And unfortunately, it's one field in HR that is not that much respected. People want to go into talent, they want to go into reward, they want to go into organization development, and some other aspects. But IR doesn't feature that much. It used to be, but not in today's term. And that is where we are having our challenges. So they were recommending that, look, let's get people who either have training in it or train some people to handle IR so that you can have a peace of mind. They remarked that we should look at the contract of employment and termination letters. Because quite often they are not well constructed, and these leave loopholes which are taken advantage of by the victims. Or there's a weak, termination letter or contract of employment might create problem for you. We also drew attention to drafting of fixed-term contracts. It's critical that termination clauses also form an integral part of those documents. So they kept recounting. Now, I'm mentioning all this because you might have experienced some of these. And this was the sort of conversation that took place. They also say it was worthy to know that management staff, including HR directors, usually bear the brunt of premature terminations during redundancies or after-track action. So what happens is that, when all these programs are going on, and you are making the slips, bear the brunt because of all this, the totality of these slips. Then we also have unfair terminations. They remark that about 40 to 48% continue to talk. About as much as 40 to 48% of cases referred to the Commission are on unfair termination. That's very significant. So look at your termination process. they caution that if we don't take care, these flouting of procedures and then these huge payments which are levied on us for the mistakes that we've been committing can eventually get some businesses, some companies out of business. Because if you read their rulings, the cases, and court issues, some of them, they say, pay those salaries and benefits with respective effect about 5-10 years. Skills in their profession. They know it, they know their stuff. But quite often, they want to play it safe so that they keep their jobs. But guys, if you have your profession, just like a doctor engineer, he gives an opinion and that's it. If you joke with it, it's up to you. But quite often, we will say, the period shouldn't be this, but anyway, we can allow it provided the union is not watching. But who tells you the union is not watching? They've got the spider eyes. So quite often they compromise and get in trouble. It also became evident that we didn't either have grievance handling procedures, or if we do, they are never activated. But guys, you can also be a victim of the absence of a grievance procedure. Because when they are dealing with you and you look into your conditions and you don't have a clause that tells you can even appeal to the board, then you are stuck with the decision of your senior manager. You thought it would never happen, but unfortunately you get caught up. So these are some of the concerns they were raising. So in the light of all these observations, the commission proposed that we should consider creating a platform to bring both the chief executive and the HR directors, managers, to promote further awareness in HR best practices and development. This could take various forms, and this is one. This is the best. That look, all these things that I've listed, they may not necessarily be the making of the practitioner, but it could be the whole institutional organization or the management. So if we get the key players involved and we bring them up, then we will all identify where the weaknesses are and collectively we'll find a solution. So after this, the chief executives will give their perspective, and then the Labour Commission will give their perspective. Then we shall have an open forum where we will have contributions, and then we will take some learnings out of that, and then decisions on the way forward, how to improve our workforce management from now on. This is the reason why we are here. The Commission said they had also come to the realization that most strikes or strike actions come about as a result of management being caught unaware of certain development which they should have been monitoring in the first place. In safety management, a number of near misses will result in what? Accidents or fatality, whichever. You have series of near misses happening at a particular point in your workplace. It tells you that a major accident is about to take place. So at the workplace, the series of conflicts, minor disputes, little complaints coming up should be telling us that we should be preparing for strike action. That is the reality. But see, just as we keep monitoring the hazards and other safety steps at the workplace, we hardly look at all the little conflicts that are brewing at the workplace. And all these strikes that happen, if you look into it, there are issues that we hear happening, knocking at our door, we haven't signed an agreement, we haven't gotten this, we want to be put on the signals mind, we want this and that, and they keep on, we fix it, we promise, and every now and then we keep shifting the goalpost. Shifting the goalpost. And I'm happy we have all the key players. As you keep shifting goalposts, you are preparing the ground for the strike action. The unions are good at it, so they take you by surprise. So the reality is that we've always known and felt about a possible strike action, about to happen. We get it, we feel it. But quite often, we do nothing, and we get caught up. So these are the basics, and we want to find solutions to these issues today. This platform is therefore a sequel to provide a forum to have more insight and strategies on how to address these concerns with a key stakeholders. On our part, we have since made conscious efforts to assist our practitioners, especially in the public sector, and this has culminated in extending our professional certification program to the public service to enhance their knowledge and practice. That is good news for us. We are now being asked to assist the public service. We run our professional certification program for the private sector, but we are now going to roll it out to the public sector. So some of these basics which are missing, which have been the core of these issues I've listed, perhaps, hopefully, we'll have our seasoned practitioners handle them. So that's one move we have made, and thanks to the effort of Executive Director and the team, that we are entering. And I'm very personally excited about it, that our professional education program is now going to be extended to those public service. We will do a customized one for them, whilst we run this other one for others. Great. Then our continuous professional education program, what we call CPE, we've now included legal aspects of HR management amongst other courses. This is being run by other professional bodies, and we are also saying that look, let us support it because we need it more than before. So a number of new programs have been introduced to address these concerns that I had mentioned. We've gone ahead to have a code of ethics. This has been introduced to guide the conduct of our practitioners and also insulate them from arbitrary actions of management. Fire him or I fire you is over. Now you have your code. You are protected. And this is one of the positive steps we have taken. HR world has changed essentially into the talent age, coming from the industrial age where we were seen to be just polite and keeping a smiling face, like the Queen of England. You must always have a smiling face, take care of the people, and your full-time welfare officer, making sure that people have eaten, the office is neat. Those were the days where we were just polite, but we were not impacting on business. We have moved to the knowledge age. Now we call ourselves HR practitioners era, where again we have been policing. Instead we'll be doing some police work. We want to reduce trouble by focusing on cost, compliance, and consistency. Oh, has he taken his leave? How many days? Oh, he went more than this. No, we can't have this. No. So we move from that age to the policing age. We still do the policing, isn't it? We are gatekeepers, And we did all this by reducing trouble, And since then, we have moved to partnering, to help business partners be successful. So look at this. From just keep smiling, policing, then we became partners. And now we have become players. So our CEOs are supposed to give us the floor. They are supposed to see us as players. Without us, you can have all your directors, but you need your HR director also involved in all major decisions. Same with your manager. So this is our new world. In the past, I think we didn't have that much attention. So I'm emphasizing that we should be accorded that respect. Nobel Prize winning economist Gary, I've shared with you the overview. Let's have open discussion with our hearts and minds together, so we can together build a strong human capital for our respective organizations and the nation. I wish you all successful graduation. Thank you very much.
Ladies and gentlemen, one more time, often ignore avoidable consequences, flawed procedures, trained personnel, especially in industrial relations, and most importantly, the support through effective mechanisms and training. This is very key, and we thank you for shedding light on them in a very, very, very strong way. Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, we've heard from the HR practitioners, we've heard the expectations from CEOs. It is particularly appropriate that we hear from our special guest of honor, a man of great administrative ability and dexterity, one who has a very rich corporate profile, having worked in his own firm of financial consultants and investment lawyers, and managing very great Ghanaian companies also. He happens to now be the CEO of the Securities and Exchange Commission. He brings to the table a wide understanding of HR practice and how it bodes well for the industry. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Dr. Edu, AG, CEO of Securities and Exchange.
Thank you very much. To you all. I think the first time I put this tells you that you are aging. I'm joining the old age because people will say, we saw him in glasses today. Yes. Today is the first time that probably I'm wearing glasses. But that is what age man to be able to do what you have to do well, not necessarily represent the Securities and Exchange Commission. Mr. President, Vice President, members of the National Governing Council of the Institute, Executive Director and staff of the Institute, CEOs, and human resource practitioners from various industries, distinguished invited guests, friends from the media, ladies and gentlemen. I deem it an honor to be invited to speak at this maiden CEOs Breakfast Forum of the Institute of Human Resource Management Practitioners, Ghana, on the topic under discussion, which is CEOs' perspective on human resource functions and practices. My gratitude goes to the National Governing Council of the Institute for the honored handling. And let me also say that it's a privilege for me to speak to such an array of distinguished personalities. Mr. President, I'm of the strong conviction that irrespective of the sector in which an organization operates, the people within it will always be a critical component of its operations and ultimately its success. The capacity and abilities of human assets have no known comparison or boundaries. Money, buildings, vehicle, lands, etc. They have their value and importance, but they do not come anywhere near the value of human capital. Human beings make or break societies and organizations. Hence, prudently and professionally managing them is not a matter of choice, but obligatory for every serious organization, and for that matter, a nation that wants to utilize the most valuable resources to the benefit of all. What is human resource management? Let me share with you a definition I like best, given by Michael Armstrong, 2006 work, in his book titled A Handbook of Human Resource Management Practice. He defines human resource management as, quote, a strategic and coherent approach to the management of an organization's most valued assets, the people working there, who individually and collectively contribute to the achievement of its objectives, end of quote. Mr. President, despite the application of technology in modern business, human resources are still relevant and most adaptive resources for the organization. The strategic values of human resources stem from the fact that while other resources applied in production are passive, human resources are endowed with discretionary decision-making powers and thus have competitive advantage over other resources. Human resource management is, however, one of the toughest duties of a manager, since humans differ in terms of attitude, values, aspiration, motivation, assumptions, psychology, and life goals. Of course, of all the resources employed in profession which we were taught as factors of production, it is only labor that can think, talk, express his views, and needs to be convinced to act in a specific way. The others do not have those attributes. If you have a land and you want to put a house on it, you can't talk, I don't like a house. If you want money, you have money and you want to go and buy a car, the money can say, I don't want a car. But for human beings, if you give him something, he will think and come back and say, I don't like this. So that makes the human resource critical. Dave Ulrich, 1996, in his book entitled Human Resource Champion, the next agenda for adding value and delivering results, strongly suggests that human resources determine an organization's success in overcoming major challenges facing executives today. He argues that the role of human resource professionals has been redefined to meet the competitive challenges organizations face today and into the future. He provides a framework that identifies 4 distinct roles of human resource professionals: a strategic player, administrative experts, employee champion, and change agents. He includes many examples to demonstrate that human resource professionals must operate in all 4 areas simultaneously in order to contribute fully to organizational success. He urged a shift of these professionals' mentality from what I do to what I deliver. I know that most of you are HR experts in your own rights. I'm not. I'm a Bagria, an HR expert who has a blog on HR, where he shares best HR practices and his idea which benefit people in doing justice to their roles as HR managers, has to say about what HR management does in contributing to the achievement of organizational objectives. 1, he says HR management helps in hiring and training workforce. Manpower planning is one of the most important responsibilities of HR departments. HR managers devise hiring strategies for bringing in the right kind of people in their organizations. They prepare their job description which is best suited for the role in the company. After hiring them, we also plan the employees' induction with a well-laid-out training and development plans. 2, they take care of the performance management system. HR is responsible for keeping people feel motivated for work. First comes the task of defining one's role, thereby an effective feedback mechanism from time to time by the employee to improve their skills. This helps in alignment of the organizational objectives with its own personal goals. An effective performance management system helps in recognition and rewarding people's performance. 3, HR helps in building culture and values in the organization. The performance of an individual is dependent on the work atmosphere or culture that prevails in the organization. Creating a good, conducive working environment is expected of the HR department. 4, HR is responsible for conflict management. There can be many occasions where there is a disagreement between employee and employer. You cannot avoid conflicts from happening, but you can surely try and manage them. Here comes the role of HR department in acting as a counselor and a mediator to solve the issues in an effective manner. HR takes timely action so that things do not go out of hands. And 5, HR is responsible for developing good relations. Establishing cordial relations lie with the HR to a great extent. They are responsible for holding meetings, seminars, and all official gatherings on behalf of management. Apart from core HR role, if required, the department also lends a helping hand in drafting business and marketing plans for the organization. He concludes that one can very well see that a proper HR department helps in building and managing an organization. Hence, companies are laying a greater emphasis on setting up strong and effective human resource departments. Mr. President, we do acknowledge that HR is the most valuable assets of every organization. But the truth must be said that the evidence on ground proves that we truly value our human capital. Though the situation is getting better, we still have a long way to go. We witness some organizations placing people in HR roles that they do not have or have not been trained to perform. Many organizations put people into HR roles for reasons for various reasons which may not have anything to do with technical expertise or competency for the HR function. The end result of such decision is pushed upward, leading to industrial actions in the trenches, which then lands at the door of the National Labour Commission. The conflict management rule of HR, therefore, in these organizations is not well handled. I believe that this could be avoided if such rules are handled by qualified HR practitioners or professionals. The question to be answered is who places such unqualified people in such rules? As the president was saying, sometimes it has been redeployed, so it's sent to that place. Indeed, in most cases, it's the heads or CEOs of these institutions that carry out this exercise. In most cases, in some cases, the head of the institution doesn't even have the power, especially in most public institutions. But I believe in the private sector, you are the people who do that. The lack of understanding of the real role of HR in the organization by some of the people at the helm of affairs is certainly contributing to this unfortunate and costly situation in organizations. This must change if we really want to make a big leap forward in utilizing our human capital for improved productivity. In many organizations, the HR function is perceived as a support function, merely confined to paperwork and more concerned with procedural and welfare issues. And CEOs must endeavor to root this perception out from their organizations. Mr. President, increasing demand on CEOs to achieve a set goals and objectives certainly places obligation on the CEO to be conscious of the importance of the strategic role of HR within the organization. On the other hand, it equally places an obligation on the HR practitioner to be conscious of the importance and strategic role he or she plays in the organization. The HR practitioners must endeavor to improve themselves in their area of practice, knowledge, and skills for organizational effectiveness. They must move out of their traditional transactional mentality and think and act strategically. For any organization to remain competitive and even lead the pack, leveraging on best practice in HR discipline is a must. Such organization, therefore, must be human capital driven. Furthermore, it is clear that organizations of the future will be human capital driven, assets driven. The challenge lies with CEOs appreciating these facts and acting appropriately, and also HR practitioners rising to the new demands of partnering to implement best HR practices. Partnering requires the need to build an HR architect that will translate HR as a cost center into a value-added service center. In other words, HR practitioners have no other option than to take responsibility for improving workforce productivity by value-added service provision other than being cost center. Competent HR practitioners are therefore desperately needed for creating this value, and this will require increase in human resource knowledge, skills, and motivation in achieving organizational goals in a more efficient and effective way. The nutshell, change must happen to ensure that CEOs and HR practitioners work in harmony to foster better working relationship for the overall benefit of the organization. In line with this, the following three key suggestions are made. One, as much as there is a need for HR practitioners to up their game by upscaling themselves to meet the new expectations of corporates of the company, CEOs must demonstrate good and competent as the people it is comprised of. Two, CEOs must be clear in their definition of key deliverables for the HR departments and hold every HR practitioner accountable for time-bound results. And three, CEOs should have to invest in the development of HR practitioners. They will have to ensure that skill development and training are equally given priority, just as it is given to other functional areas. Investments must be made in new innovative HR practices in the same manner as huge amounts are spent on other functional areas of the business. Dear colleagues, it is evident from the mentioned that both parties, the CEO and the human resource practitioners, have a critical role to play in ensuring that a better and more efficient and effective HR function is in place. It also needs to be acknowledged by CEOs that HR practitioners are indeed strategic partners who can make significant contributions to the bottom line. Mr. President, it is worth mentioning that as the business world around us changes, it is only when the CEOs and the HR practitioners work closely together that the workforce will be properly positioned and optimized to achieve desired goals of the organization. We must always believe that good human resource management practices creates a lot of difference in enhancing the productivity of the employees in an organization. To conclude, permit me to leave you with this quote from the work of Ben Hill, 1997, called A Way of Being Free. Quote, "There are no joys without mountains having been climbed. There are no joys without nightmares that precede them and spring them into light. The joys that spring from the challenges are profound. And the challenges will always be there. As long as there are human beings, there will be challenges. And in my own words, I will say to you, my dear, sorry, I always attempt to say legal practitioners. You can see that from two occasions, I always say, my dear HR practitioners, in my own words, I say to you, my dear HR practitioners, that as long as you manage human resources, you will have challenges to deal with always. I wish you well during your deliberations, and thank you for your attention.
Thank you for eloquently rendering your support and their enthusiasm to this great enterprise. Allow me to acknowledge with gratitude the presence of our distinguished CEOs, a few of them that I can see here. I have, thank you, sir, and a lot more I'll be introducing in the course of this event. The CA department of 17 employees. A year later, only 8 remained. 4 had resigned and 5 had transferred. To understand what led to the exodus, an executive looked at this skills, such as showed appreciation, engendering commitment, and communicating vision and strategy. More important, the interview suggested a deeper systemic problem. Oftentimes very agitated, and it leads to litigation, arbitration, and the like. It takes a huge toll on organizations' income. The Director of HR and Admin of the National Labour Commission, a woman with deep understanding of all these issues.
And practice. What is different today is that there's a clear distinction between managing the people and managing the relationship. Industrial relations management is a very distinct area which focuses on the management of the employment relationship, that is managing the people, human resources management. Of the employment relationship, that is managing the people, human resources management, and managing the relationship, industrial relations management, which would be the focus of my conversation with you this morning. The 1930s saw a notable expansion in respect of labor management relations. Prior to this, the frequent expression was management prerogative. Management prerogative means the employer has the right to engage, to dismiss, or vary the terms of employment of workers as it deems fit without any consultation. That was what it was. But today, it is not like that. Today's management of the relationship between the employer and the workman focuses on partnership. The parties are social partners who have a stake in the business as well as interest. And though the level of interest and type of interest may vary, both parties have the common interest of continuity. These social partners communicate through social dialogue. That is why I started by saying that we're going to have a conversation. This is all about conversation. Managing the people, the relationship. Managing the relationship between the employer and the employee is about conversation. And it is this lack of conversation that accounts for most of the disputes that we record in this country. Industrial relations is the relationship between the employee and the employer, and or the workers' organization, association, and the workers' management. This type of relationship is one that is fundamentally aimed at productivity by the workers for appropriate compensation in all its various forms, and the maximization of profit, expansion of business, etc. by the employer. The governance structure of industrial relations. It is governed by industrial labor laws, conventions, and institutions. Many times we've had situations in this country where workers have an issue. And when you want to go into the matter, you have an employer quickly writing back to tell you that this company, the laws that we are using is not your national laws. We are using some laws that from where we are coming from. Okay, and this kind of situation makes resolution really, really difficult because then you do not have the cooperation, the needed cooperation that you need. These provisions and processes ensure that the relationship between the employer and the employee is founded on acceptable standards. Industrial relations law or labor law therefore provides the standards applicable in an employment relationship. We have often said that if you have a difficulty in drafting the contract, take the law. Just take the law. It sets the standards. You can even import, as Mr. Ostingame would often say, import the provisions into your contract, and you are good to go. Industrial relations has 4 perspectives. Workers' perspective. What is it about the workers' perspective? Good remuneration, occupational health and safety, protection of employment. And employers are looking at productivity, employment/labor laws, flexibility of workforce, management of industrial conflicts. Of course, if I'm an investor and I want to go invest in an economy, that after I've done whatever, the next thing that I'm going to look at is the labor laws of this country, because nobody wants to invest in an economy which has a turbulent industrial relations climate. The government perspective is on the creation of an enabling environment for investment through the establishment of legislation that regulates employee-employer relationship, and then the social perspectives. This therefore calls for special skills and expertise in handling filed complaints to demand non-payment of notice fee by workers, payment in lieu of notice. and some filed complaints against some workers that after I've invested so much in training the worker, he says he's leaving. He did not even spend 6 months with me. So employers. Now, let us look at the disputes by type. We have summary dismissal, unfair terminations, retirement benefits, end of service benefits, redundancy stroke, severance pay, workmen's compensation, medical and others, that's maternity protection, unpaid end leave. And this is, I have an issue here and I want to raise it. Leave. Leave administration has become a major issue in HR management. Now, you prepare the leave roster all right, then you keep the leave roster there, and then you expect that the workers themselves go on leave. They wouldn't. I'm telling you, because some people don't want to go on leave at all. It is your duty and your responsibility, at least, to a month before that date. The leave roster is not for fun. A month before that day, for the person, for you, the HR person, to write. If the person has not written formally to say that this was what this was the date I indicated, reminding the person that their leave date is due. You know the reason why I'm saying that? Because companies are paying out the appointment letters and we tell, I am looking for a job now, I'm so desperate. In the conditions of employment, i.e. lack of conformity with the provisions of the labor law, absence of internal grievance handling procedures, as well as procedures for seeking third-party intervention, non-appreciation of the dispute settlement procedures, resorting to unilateral actions during negotiations and in times of disagreements, poor management, treatment and handling of the various types of contract, that is contract itself, fixed-term types of employment, yes, contract, fixed-term, casual, temporary, part-time, permanent, casual worker. The person comes to work from 8 a.m. to 5 p.m. every time for 25 years, and the person is a casual worker. Unionization disputes. union multiplicity, non-recognitions of unions by employers, non-adherence to the processes of unionization by unions, and issuance of collective bargaining certificates. Protracted and undue delays in negotiations, capacity of persons leading negotiating teams to deal with matters decisively, lack of proper mandates for persons conducting negotiations, poor communication between management and workers at the enterprise level. The effect: it undermines the dispute settlement procedures under the law and creates a turbulent industrial relations environment. It undermines the new industrial relations practice where the parties are to treat each other as partners and not adversaries. Undermines credibility of the organization by the employer. Creates a bad image for the organization in the sight of the public. Difficulty in attracting good, qualified, and competent manpower. Decisions and agreements are made under duress, posing a challenge to implementation and sustainability. Thus, the same dispute keeps recurring. Poor worker morale leading to high labor turnover, frequent labor agitations. Now, I'm about to conclude. Now I give you the statistics. Summary dismissal. This is misuse of dismissal, improper application of procedures. Recorded 1,605, representing 21.5%. Unfair termination, non-adherence to procedures, failure to ensure the right to a fair hearing. 2,140, representing 28.7%. Retirement end of service benefit, that is improper calculation, failure or variation and all that. 388, representing 5.2%. Then unpaid salaries, outstanding salaries, non-payment, delayed payments is 24, 8.3%. Workmen's compensation, occupational health and safety, workplace injury 191, 2.5%. Redundancy, severance laid off 5166.9. Medical, non-payment of medical bills 103, 1.3. Then others, leave, maternity protection, transfer and all that 1,804, representing 24.2%. Then strikes, collective bargaining, implementation, contracts, review, conditions of service 108, 1.4%. This is the statistics from April 2005 to December 2015. Total of 7,449 disputes recorded. Average of 748 disputes per year. Average of 1 million workers cumulatively involved on an annual basis. Now I will conclude by sharing with you 3 important quotes. The first one by Stephen Covey. Quote, "Always treat your employees exactly as you want them to treat your best customers." Unquote. Then by Francis Zelby. "Dispirited, unmotivated, unappreciated workers cannot compete in a highly competitive world." Unquote. Then the last one by Mike Abrash. Quote, "It all came down to employee engagement. It all came down to recognition. It all came down to leadership, which led to every sailor feeling ownership and accountability for the results. You can ask a team to accomplish a mission, but you can't order excellence." Unquote. Thanks for the opportunity to share this thought with you.
And one more time, let's celebrate our resource person, Dr. Bernice.
My questions, I believe I have about 3 questions. First is, how can human resources become a business partner? And as Mr. Wilson said, how can human resources become a player? Before this session, I discussed with my colleagues, human resources practitioners, and asked, what are your expectations of the chief executive? And the sort of answers I received, very interesting. First, they want the chief executive to be the sponsor of HR. Secondly, they want the chief executives to support the alignment of human resources to the attainment of business results. They also want the chief executives to be an HR role model. They want the chief executives to be the defender of human resources, processes, and procedures. And lastly, they expect the chief executives to consult on human capital activities. Thank you.
And, unfair terminations and dismissals, yes. Like I said, and the reasons that are attributed for these is the flawed procedures, like I said, flawed procedures, and the right to a fair hearing. You know, because before you dispense with the services of someone, of a worker, you need to take the worker through the proper procedures to establish whatever allegation that has been made. But most of the time, you would realize that a query is issued, the person responds, and then based on that response, then a provision is referred to, an article in the contract is referred to, and the appointment is terminated until you give the person the right to a hearing, because there could be other factors that contributed to the action, and you need to unearth those factors and to see, for you to make the proper determination. So I want to reiterate again that most of the times, the cases that employers lose is not because the action was, as it were, the decision was wrong, but the process was flawed.
Okay. The rate of an employee, we tend to be in a hurry. We tend to be in a hurry. I'm happy the chief executives are here. But the reality is that when I was practicing, I was liking terminating an appointment like trying to kill a snake or a wild animal. If you don't handle it skillfully, that animal can turn around and kill you. And invariably, if you don't handle the termination well, you, the practitioner, you might lose your job in the long run. Because if later on it comes out that you didn't follow the right procedures, etc., in a well-organized company, they would put your actions under the microscope and see how you came about that decision. And they say, we didn't get the right advice. So, first of all, let's make sure that termination dismissal procedures are properly laid out. If you don't have it, let's do it. And let's get our boss men to sign that off. In very good companies, the decision to fire goes as far as to the CEO for a certain level. They've graduated them. And he wants to know about all cases of termination. So let's not make it easy for people to be fired. So let's have the procedure, and let's follow through the procedure, and let's train people, especially with the line manager, you call them line managers, you know. Let them also understand that it's not easy just doing that. If it doesn't go well, you take the blame. So let's spend time to train. It's worth it. And let's come out with a clear policy and procedure on terminations and dismissals. And this must be signed off by the top leadership. If you don't have, as you sit here, you don't have it, please do it tomorrow. Our secretariat can help you, or there are a lot of professionals here who can be consulted. But when you don't have procedure on termination, you are in trouble. It means you do it anyhow, and sometimes too late to correct the wrong. So that's the action there. The issue on the HR business partner, you know, I know it's a favorite topic for Leo. Are you there? We recently did a program for the public service, and he spoke at length on that. But the slight difference is that HR, instead of us thinking about our function all the time, that we are supposed to do this, we are supposed to do that, we have now moved from thinking substantial about our function to the business. So, instead of, in the board, instead of you talking about only people issues, move further to challenge the finance man, the marketeer, and then the other technical people, because you have also learned about the business. This requires us going back to learn more about accounting, marketing, and other department responsibilities. You see, once you understand what the other departments do, I tell you, you will put your HR in the background for a while. And then you take them on the business decision. Then you tell them that all these decisions impact on people. And that's why. But quite often, we keep quiet and only talk about the people side. So as a partner, we are expecting you to shift focus from looking at your function to more to do with the business or what your organization does more. And through that, you should be given the platform that every situation, whatever plans or activity that takes place, your input will be required. In fact, once you shift the focus, I can tell you, nobody will tell you that you are a partner. It comes naturally. As for the player, it means without you, they can't take a decision. So whether they bring in a new product or provide a new service or not, they would want the input of the HR person. So that is what we have to start it. And I'm sure with our bosses around, they will give us the platform to continue that way. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Mr. John Wills. Practitioners are ordered about to either terminate or dismiss. I think it's sounding a bit strange to me in the 21st century that an HR practitioner would allow himself or herself to be ordered to terminate somebody. I mean, it's just not on. So, what about your policies? Your policies must be clean, clear, and to the point that no one can order you out. I'm a consultant to a number of companies, and I can tell you that on 2 occasions, they failed, even very recently, one notable organization. They did not talk to us about what they wanted to do. They did it, I only heard it, and I said, who told you to do what you have done? And they will pay for it, and they are paying for it. And they dare not ever do it in their life again. So, all heads of departments are potential HR people. And we must train them and let them understand and appreciate the fact that HR is not a business for just anybody just jumping into it and ordering HR. It's not possible for any serious, and our noble profession that you can be ordered about and you jump into it. You are disgracing yourself. That's just the bottom line. Now, my other point is this. All that have been said, to start with, negotiating a condition of service, or what we want to popularly call collective agreement, is a serious business. Under Section 1054 of the Labour Act, as soon as you write anything into your collective agreement, you are bound. You are bound by it. Therefore, you just don't want to write just anything. And it begins with even the rules and procedures you put down before. And I can guarantee you that about 99% of negotiations that are conducted is the unions that supply the rules that govern the negotiation. And management accept it and work with it. So it baffles me. And because they now know that some of us will not take it, those that we consult for, some are here, I'm looking at their faces. I can see that when we come out with new rules under Section 1012 of the Labour Act and 1034 of the Labour Act, we say the parties sitting down and negotiating shall, not even me, shall make rules that will help them to govern the process. But you allow the unions to bamboozle you. And then you turn around later wanting to do what is supposed to be done. Then it's too late for you. I want to plead that maybe we have to, let me use the word improve. I don't like it so much. I want the best. But if you have to improve, maybe we have to improve our teaching methodology, our curriculum, and include matters of mediation and arbitration, not just the periphery or textbook type of things. It's a practice. Because Labour Commission, when you go there, you are going to engage the services of mediators to assist you to resolve your differences. or arbitrators. Even the presentation you make at arbitration or the mediation matters. That will make you lose or win. And often, what I observe there, clearly we are not prepared to go there and we are confronted with it. It just appears we've been losing too many cases because our preparation is not thorough. I want to plead that maybe our executive director, if you invite us, we will talk it over. There are people I see, my friend here, they can help, we can all help in one way or the other in ensuring that we are prepared to confront the new challenges that are before us. A lot more are coming. So please, it's not just the public sector, the private sectors are equally suffering. A lot of the termination things we see here is more with the private sector than the public sector. So please, let's double up.
I think my question is in line with what our brother just said, and it's in connection with what one of our speakers, that's Dr. Anani Entry, mentioned, the 3 suggestions he gave us, being the fact that CEOs needs to invest in HR. Most of the times, like he said, HR is perceived to be a cost center department instead of being a value-added center. So my question is, what can we do, or what should we do as HR practitioners to push or to encourage our CEOs to invest in our development so that they don't come up with budget constraints and all that? So what must we do as HR practitioners to ensure that we are well invested in helping us being the players that we need to be in the business? Thank you very much.
With our bosses, in these days, when we do annual review of performance, we share feedback, what we call the 360 degrees. Tell me where I can improve as a subordinate, and I tell you, the boss, what you can also do to improve as a boss. And that frank discussion, that is the new world. If you are not doing 360 degrees, start now. Whereas the bosses tell you what to do to improve, you can also share with them what you expect them to do and do more. And sometimes they are horrified when they hear from subordinates. Now, this forum, I believe, going forward, if we have that platform, all the presentation we heard from the Labour Commission and listening to all of you, they are not all attributable to a weak HR practitioner. No, it's an institutional problem. So if the stakeholders are all here and we meet face to face, we can all see where we can all together work and improve. So it's good, and I like that suggestion. And I'm happy the CEOs, and I'm sure the CEOs will support it, so that, because you see, if all these problems come to your doorstep, then you might as well get involved. There's a funny saying that they say, grass moves in the direction of the wind, isn't it? Where the wind is blowing. So where the leadership is going, that's what everybody does. So if the boss is with you, is going a certain direction, you'll be forced to go that way. So it's good that we started this, and I'm sure it will sustain. Now, the other point made was, what must we do as HR practitioners, that is towards getting more investment in our training and development. My answer is, we must show the way or merit it by our actions. Let's share with our management, our CEOs, the cost. You see, every decision in the business has a financial implication. Every decision. Whether you work today, yesterday was a holiday. I don't know how many companies know how much it costs them to have a holiday or overtime. So our approach is, let us be looking at the financials. Because when we go to the boardroom and others are bringing figures, market share and others, we also have figures. Let's put our talent dashboard there and show the cost. All the resignation, terminations, they all have effect. At the end of the day, the absenteeism and all those things. So we go and show these things to them, and then they become interested. So once they see what impact we are making, if we ask for more money for our own development in a certain area, I tell you, they'll be ready to spend on us. So our approach is to justify the need for us to have that training. And this we'll do by demonstrating to them that we are adding value to the business, because we are no more just doling out, but we are also actually trying to do some cost saving. And we show everything in figures, just like what the other department heads do. And I'm sure they will listen. And with this platform, I'm sure they will all value the need for us to have our training continuously. So those are my two areas.
How many practitioners in the face of high level of unemployment can take such a principled stand? So, Mr. Chair, my question is, what as an institute can we do to insulate practitioners against such arbitrariness from CEOs? Thank you.
Mentioned about the fact that we are in a position to provide programs like HR for non-HR managers. In addition to that, just for your information, the truth of the matter is that if you don't know how to do things, you seek the body or individual who can assist you and show you how to do it. The Institute of Human Resource Management Practitioners, we are here to show you how to write a termination letter. We are here to show you how to write a proper appointment letter. We are here to show you how to write a policy and procedure manual. We are here to provide you with all the support that you need to ensure that indeed you excel in your profession when it comes to HR. So please, those of you who are yet to taste the good and wonderful product that we provide, please don't wait a day longer. Come to us and we will do you good. Thank you very much.
GCB, because we provide you with a portal, and so you see everything on your own. You don't necessarily have to rely on GCB to have this run. As businesses, you can have this as a separate solution, which you can easily brand yourselves as well. Except that they will go through GCB and we have to do the collection for you. Yes, for a small fee.
Thank you very much. So it's all about our employees, right from motivating them through the employee security plan and then the utilization of the GCB light pay just to keep them comfortable and to deliver on
A breakfast session and it's getting to lunch. So we're going to end it now. Yes. Before we get any agitation for lunch. As the unions will always do. So we said the meeting was in the morning, but it's now lunchtime, so you have to take care of us. Great. I think it's been a very, very productive session. It's the first, and so there are learnings we will always improve on them. We are very grateful that you've been patient enough to sit through the whole program. First of all, the key message that I picked, or we picked from our CEOs, if I take the three areas you're looking at us, CEOs were, they said they should be able to demonstrate belief in the HR centrality. That's quite a huge commitment. So the CEOs seated here feel that they must demonstrate the belief in the HR centrality. It should no more be a rhetoric, but I think they want to pledge their commitment to supporting us. And I'm encouraged by that, because HR is key. You also mentioned that there must be clear definition of our deliverables. Whatever is expected of us must be clearly known. And now we've told them about our new role. They should forget about just playing it nice and being the gatekeeper, and rather invite us the boardroom. We've already earned seats there, and they should make sure that we are always part of all media. And you are in for a chance. They have noted that, and they will be with us. And they also pledge the support to develop our practitioners. This means there would be some budgetary provision. And please, let's do a budget. HR, we tend to delay providing our own inputs for budgets. And sometimes we think that they should decide for us. But this time around, once they are wanting to support us, let's ask and ask big for the entire development of both ourselves and the workforce. So they will support us in our development. Then finally, they would now acknowledge our strategic role, going forward. So we're not here. I'm expecting that we will share with them, so that at least they know the issues that came up. I mean, some of the figures mentioned here are quite revealing. And if we get it and we go back and we do our report back, we will be able to use it to convince them why we need to up our game in our HR management, and thereby get the necessary support. So this work has left the presentation, and it will be circulated together with that of our sponsors, and we will also share it with the rest. Then there was the last point about developing the HR and the non-HR people. I think that was also a very good suggestion, which will be brought on board. Issue of arbitrariness and so on and so forth. There is some protection from our code. And for those of you who have not registered yet to be our members, this is the time to do so. I hope they have the necessary forms and contact there for you to register. Please see Josephine at the end there, so that you get your name registered. And it's nice to be part of a professional body. When the list comes out, members in good standing, then you are there. And we could come to your rescue if you are treated unfairly. Because you see, if there is a real case of abuse, then we can step in and then make an approach. Because we can't sit down as champions of fair play to be treated unfairly. So, for those of you who are not members, this is your chance. And register, and we will be at your rescue when you are not being treated in the right manner. So, ladies and gentlemen, I think it's been quite a useful session, and we are grateful. Our able CEO who has stayed with us throughout to lead or to represent the college, we are very grateful. We need to partner with our bosses to have them resolved. So going forward, we will work together in our new world. And this program will be sustained so that we will continue, we'll see continuous improvement in the delivery of our profession. Thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen, for coming, and have a nice day.
Mr. John Wilson, President of the Institute of Human Resource Practitioners, Ghana. Ladies and gentlemen, a resounding round of applause. Thank you for all that you do for our industry. Thank you for all that you call on us to do. We promise to make you proud. Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, allow me to acknowledge with gratitude our special guest of honor, Dr. Edu Anani NG, who is taking time to be with us this morning. We say thank you, sir. We also thank you to Dr. Bernice Welbe, although she's not here with us. I believe a resounding round of applause will reach her wherever she is, our resource person. Thank you very much also to you, Mr. President, for availing yourself and making sure that this dream has become a reality. Thank you to the Governing Council of the Institute. And we say thank you to you, our very cherished industry practitioners. Please give yourselves a resounding round of applause. couldn't have also done it without the support of. And so I believe the message is loud and clear that by taking care of our employees, we take care of our clients. And when our clients are satisfied, they take care of our competitors. It is my fervent hope that we shall gather here same time, in due course, and when we do, it will not be to complain and to murmur, but to count all the dividends that have accrued from this great enterprise that we've started. My name is Jerry Eden Ajawilo, and I'm thankful for the pleasure of your time and your company. Shall we please rise and commit all these deliberations into the hand of God, the one who gives us the ability to make profits? Shall we pray? Father and our God, we just want to thank you for a day like this, one that you've given to us for us to deliberate about the future and the prospects of our great industry. We pray that upon all these great deliberations, you shall come and give us the wisdom, the insight, and what it takes to be able to implement all these key areas that at the end of it all, Lord, when we gather here again, it will not be to recount the same old stories, but to count the tangible results that have accrued. We pray for journey mercies to our various destinations, and we pray that you shall keep us and keep our organizations afloat, and that all employees everywhere in this country shall be grateful for the benefit of their work and for their labor. We thank you, Lord. We bless you. Through your Son and our Savior Jesus Christ that we pray with thanksgiving. Amen.
Amen.
May I humbly request all our members of the high table to please line up here together with us.